Step aside, Veritasium. This is what a real nerd debate looks like. So this is my friend Seth DeWitt. He is a streamer. And recently while he was streaming Bed Wars and I was playing with him, we did private games, and he pulled off a pretty smooth move. So he has me turned down, which kind of offends me, but alright. I'll just play the clip for you, and then I'll explain two things. Number one, why this is a good play, and number two, why he is incredibly lucky it worked.
Hello.
Blew off.
No.
Congratulations, you fireballed him.
Congratulations, you're enormous game.
No way.
Goodbye.
So that is the clip. So
Hello.
let's just talk about the play really quick. First thing he does is he runs up and he has a fireball and a TNT on his hotbar. So he uses this, he baits me down from on top, and fireball jumps over me into the middle of my bed. So if we watch,
No.
fireball jumps, place the TNT right in between all the glass. I spammed the glass there to protect against fireballs. He had a TNT. Fireball jump.
Congratulations.
TNT blows up, knocks me off. He breaks the bed. Just a handful of ticks before I die. So let's talk about why it's a good play. It's a good play because obviously the TNT and the fireball jump combination worked out pretty well for him. He did take a lot of damage, but it did open up the bed and he managed to get around to the glass spam, which the fireball would have had a really hard time doing, especially since that's endstone and it's when it's impervious to fireballs in Bed Wars. But let's talk about why he's incredibly lucky, and this is the main focus of our little nerd debate we're having. So, first thing is first, he fireball jumps. He's on full health,
No.
fireball jumps. He takes 1 heart of damage from the fireball, 2.5 more when he lands and places the TNT.
Congratulations.
And then I hit him one more time for another 2.5 hearts. That gets him down to 4.5 hearts, which is not a lot of health. At this point, once he turns around, you can see my health is still at 20, which means 20 hearts, so I'm full health. So he got lucky that he didn't have to fight me, because if he did have to fight me, he would be dead. In a fair fight, I can beat him, because my CPS is that much higher, and I know some other techniques. Even though in this fight he has a stone sword and I only have a sharp wood, but yeah, we both have iron armor, and it's a pretty fair fight if we were full health, but now that he's on half health, it is unbelievably in my favor. So this is where the luck gets insane. So I got baited down from on top where I was standing here down to here. I got baited by the fireball. He fireball jumps over me, lands, places the TNT. So I'm coming around to catch him up. TNT blows up, and I'm here, and you can see right here, I get hung up on this block. So I try to jump over it as well as strafe around it. Now, I'm gonna get a little bit technical here. There's two things I need to talk about that are really technical. One, how TNT works, and how explosions work, and two, how knockback works. So explosions are calculated on the distance and most open pathway to your feet. Not your head, your feet. So where I'm standing right now, the only thing blocking that TNT is a piece of glass and a piece of wool, and the corner of a piece of endstone. So when the TNT blows up, had I been standing there, right where I'm standing now, I would have been totally fine. Because it has to go through the endstone, the wool, glass, and the wool to get to my feet. But because I get hung up on this block and I jump, suddenly it only has to go through the glass. Now, Bed Wars is kind of broken because the glass is obviously not impervious to fireballs or any sort of explosion. If you look at Hermitcraft Season 6 in the G Team base, that place, I don't even know what to say about the G Team base. It's made out of glass and stained clay and terracotta, which is super easy to blow up. But in Bed Wars, they've coated it so glass has a higher blast resistance. So Part of the issue with that is it's kind of broken, and somehow the explosion went through the glass and got calculated to my feet, meaning I took a ton of knockback from that fireball. So let's talk about knockback though. So we know the TNT, because I had a way more direct path to my feet, did more knockback, but there are ways you can minimize knockback. I'm not going to get into them, but there are ways to do it. So knockback is calculated on the velocity relative to whatever's attacking you, whatever's knocking you back. So in this case, I was if this frame is where everything was when the TNT went off, I would have taken probably half a block to a block of knockback, because obviously the line to my feet and the fact that I'm standing on the ground with 0 velocity relative to the fireball. But in reality, I'm actually moving. I'm actually moving up, away from the fireball. I'm moving this way away from the fireball, and I'm moving this way away from the fireball. So because of those 3 components, I actually have a really high velocity moving away from the TNT. So when the TNT goes off and gets that direct line to my feet, because I have a high negative velocity, because I'm moving away from it faster than it's moving, because the TNT is moving at all, because I'm moving away from it, the velocity is actually negative. I take way more knockback. Now you also take more knockback when you're jumping, because ground, each block has a friction coefficient. Same thing is in real life. There's each material, when 2 surfaces meet, there's a friction coefficient, which calculates how much friction is applied, how much the force of friction is going to be applied between them. But the same thing exists in Minecraft. So in Minecraft, each block has enough friction that when you stop walking, you stop almost immediately. There are some blocks with lower friction, like ice, where you don't stop immediately, you keep going, because they have lower friction. But when you're in the air, the only force acting against you in Minecraft is the air resistance, which is very small and is only meant to limit your speed, so you can't just rapidly keep accelerating and essentially start bee-hopping. So because I jumped over this block, like you'll see here, I jump over the block right there. I'm in the air, right? TNT goes off, doesn't me 2 hearts of damage, but easily 4 blocks of knockback. So I would be well over the edge. But then Seth does land this cheeky hit on me mid-air, which just doesn't help at all. So I get knocked back a pretty far amount. Now, at this point, he's really lucky because A, I jumped over the block. That's reason 1 why he's lucky. 2, B, because I was moving towards him, my velocity made me miss this quartz block here. Now, the quartz block is part of the map, completely impervious to explosions. If I had hit that, I would have stopped dead right here, would have been on almost full health. You know, he's on 4 hearts, and I would have absolutely been able to crush him in any fight. There's no world in which he wins this fight without knocking me into the void. Even if he put on the juiciest combo, he's still really low, and I could definitely have taken him. So that's the first 2 reasons. 1, I took more knockback than I should have because I was moving and because I was in the air. 2, he's lucky that I missed the block. So took knockback, missed the block, and here's reason number 3. He chases me over the edge, which burns a bit of time. So you accelerate really fast in Minecraft when you fall. So this extra couple of frames between here, you can see my head disappears. If I slow it down, my head disappears before he turns around. So it's gone, then he turns around. I'm already moving really fast. So at the extra time he wasted there was a lot compared to how fast I would be moving for me to hit the void. I would be in the void in super fast. I would be right there. So normally when you can knock someone to the void, you can just turn around and break their bed. But he has to go around the wool, which was protected by the TNT which is protected from the TNT by the glass and the end stone. So he has to go around, and then he has to go around this block here. And then he can break the bed. Now if you look at how close the bed break was to my final, 0 time. So super short amount of time between the bed break and the final. So if I had So let's talk about this for a second. If this glass block here was actually here or here, specifically right here, this would be the best case scenario for me because you'd have to go all the way around, get up, and then break it, which you would have had tons of trouble doing. So if I had placed this glass here instead of just spamming it over the bed, he would have had to go all the way around. I would have died before he could break the bed. He would break it while I was respawning because this is super long respawn time, but I would respawn with full health, iron armor, sharp wood sword. He would still be on 4 hearts. I could run out and kill him. It would be the same fight as it was before if I had not gotten knocked off the void. The only difference for me is that suddenly I'm on last life. So that's it. So it's a good play, but he's lucky. He's lucky because the TNT landed in the perfect spot. Had he placed it literally anywhere else and not right there, it wouldn't have done nearly as much damage. He wouldn't have had the same ability to break the bed. So he's lucky the TNT was placed right. He was lucky I got hung over the block, jumped, and took tons of knockback. He's lucky I missed the quartz blocks here, and there's another one on the other side of the island. And he's lucky that there was no glass or no block right here, which would have forced him to go around, allowing me to die, respawn, and kill him. Is it a good play? Yes, that's why you see players like GamerBoy80 pull this off all the time, because it's super smart, but it's lucky. And the reason he's lucky is because I made a mistake. I made the mistake of jumping. I made the mistake of not placing a block here. It's a good play, but he's lucky. That's all I'm saying. Seth, I'll take you down, you know it? I don't think so. I don't think you can top that. All right, good luck.